World of YouTube. Tearful Sight here, going over some old school music. And I just actually got to start watching. I finally got it for free, mind you, off Amazon Prime. And I do recommend anybody to watch this documentary of the late, great Randy Rhodes. And I thought I'd do this video tonight, not only because I am a huge friggin' fan of Randy Rhodes. There's a lot of stuff that's, not been covered over this guy. And it's friggin' sad, man. And it sucks that his band took off after he died, passed away. And don't get me wrong, Kevin DeBrow did a great job with Rudy Sarzo. And I believe, what's his name? Jose, I think his name was. He stepped in and did a great job of covering, or let alone keeping the band of Randy Rhodes alive with great guitar work. I forget his damn name. I'm sorry about that. But, I believe it's Jose Quavo or something. It's pretty bad. I'm a huge fan of him. He also did a great job on Infestation with Rat. But even though he worked alongside of Dean Martini and Stephen Pearcy, and Stephen Pearcy said that he wasn't, too proud of that album because it wasn't Rat. I think it was a great album because he collaborated, with them two guitarists at the time, collaborating from the, 80s, and bringing some great music on that album. But also Quiet Riot, which I did, at one point, have to see if I can pick up the Japanese or Japan labeled record made out there of the first Quiet Riot's album. Now it's sad they don't play too much, loud of the music. Like they did play one solo part that Randy did in a concert with Quiet Riot, and didn't play too much of the music where you can hear it. You can hear it, but it's off in the distance. And it's really like muffled. I don't know why they're like covering it up type thing, but it did sound like good, awesome music. Of course, Quiet Riot back in the 70s. Mind you, started in 75. And of course, the debate of always the battle of Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhodes. And I always, in the beginning, thought Randy Rhodes was, always better than Eddie. But I can't even say that because them two guys, after hearing each other play and, throughout the years buying albums that were, like, say, the live album that Ozzy put out with him holding Randy Rhodes by the leg. Just listening to that live album when I had it was just like any other album that I listened to between Eddie Van Halen and him, just jaw-dropping. Bah, your freaking jaw just drops. What the hell did I just hear? And that's what it was when Randy Rhodes stepped upon the throne, of course, in 1980 with Blizzard of Oz. And then today my wife was talking about, came up, I guess she was reading off of Facebook, but of course, what was one of the biggest news news breaks that you ever heard. It's pretty much in the time of era of your life. And of course, my biggest news break was back in 1982, and I remember it clear as day as I'm sitting in a car. And of course, my life was getting destroyed by my parents splitting up. And like I said in a previous video, when I showed Ozzy in that concert, I was in a dream, practically, right? You know, being alone with myself, and Ozzy was there. And when them 2 albums came out, oh, they helped me through a lot. Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman. So I got chills and goosebumps up my neck just speaking of them. And hearing the news that Randy Rhodes died, oh man, that was just, I mean, I felt like I lost a family member. It's going to be tough, man, when Ozzy passes, because he was a real big, huge influence in my life, especially being at the age of 5 and, hearing him pounding out the first, verse of "Waters this that stands before me." Yeah, that's right. Figure in black. Oh, yeah. But I did do another video that when Randy Rhodes, and it's funny, I guess, to say, he didn't like Black Sabbath, and his brother's actually in this documentary. And his brother liked Black Sabbath, but he was like debating with him. I'm not going to argue with you or fight with you over it, but I don't like Black Sabbath and blah, blah, blah. But it's crazy. I never knew this story that came up. And I think it was either the guitarist or drummer from Slaughter that got Randy Rhodes the gig to meet Mr. Ozzy Osbourne when he was auditioning for guitarist to play in his band, new band, of course. And it was just wow, mind-blowing to even think. A guy from Slaughter was telling Randy Rhodes, "Come on down there, man." He kept saying it. I think this is for you. But it is also on track sad to think or to even know that Quiet Riot was struggling to get a record deal, man, and it sucked. Quiet Riot reminds me of the Grateful Dead. I mean, they had record deals, they made records, but of course they never won no awards. They never had no #1 hit. Although Touch of Grey did come out and get up on the charts. And of course, being the last album with Jerry Garcia. I mean, that's what Quiet Riot reminded me of. And, all the way up until 1979, man, they couldn't get a record deal. They couldn't get a cut. Even though they were playing and getting gigs and shows and they had, thousands of fans. I mean, probably even more fans. I mean, they had the talent they had when they brought in Rudy Sarzo. I guess the childhood friend of Randy Rhodes was not digging what was going on and wasn't taking it seriously. And, Randy didn't have the heart to tell him that. But when he did, damn, the guy pulled out a friggin' gun on him and shot some shots in the air. And Randy was pissed and tackled him. This guy was a little man, but he had some huge balls, boy. And these are the things, man, that you really didn't see back in the day, especially in Hit Parader magazines. I didn't read much about it. All I read about Randy Rhodes, of course, when he sliced and diced and got into Ozzy. And when he collaborated with Ozzy, it was like, wow. And then upstairs, Mr. Selfish had to take the life of him. Even though Ozzy was the one in the plane trying to wake him up on the tour bus type thing, but it crashed and killed Randy Rhodes. And I mean, I'll never forget that day in that newscast and how I was sitting in the car listening to it. And, just like anybody else, man, my heart broke. it was bad. But, with that being said, and knowing that Quiet Riot wasn't getting cut, only did one maybe album that got record play and, album recorded, being from Japan, for Christ's sakes. That's sad, man. It's sad. And they were trying to get their record deal out here at in the U.S. Tried some promotion things of standing in front of Capitol Records or Warner Brothers, and trying to get their gigs that way. But, they weren't having it. And it's like, wow. I mean, it's like Joan Jett. That woman had to make her own damn record label just to put out her music. And that right there is an iconic, thing to have done back in them days. Because they weren't liking her music. It's like, people don't know shit. And if these people are pushing away, talent, and look how fast Randy Rhodes blew up when he got a record deal, man. With Ozzy, but still, them were some of his ideas, them were some of his lyrics. And when he played in front of Ozzy, all he was doing was warming up, doing solo riffs and you're hired, and that was it. And, it was tough for him to leave the band, of course, of Quiet Riot. I mean, hey, how do you tell the guy you've been touring? And he's been around since 75, man, in 79, and they were doing a lot of things, playing a lot of gigs, And this, I believe, was his mother's school of music, and holy shit, I can't believe this is in New Hampshire. I didn't know he was from New Hampshire. See, these are some of the things that were left out about Randy Rhodes up until the point right until Ozzy came along, and then everything blew up. But it blew up just under Ozzy's head, There's this, insane guitar player playing Ozzy Osbourne, and, it was like his life beforehand kind of didn't exist. And like I say, man, I didn't read a lot about Quiet Riot only up until they broke in 83. And of course, that was after his death. And I'm sure Kevin DeBrow wanted to keep that band going due to his legacy. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kevin DeBrow, man, did kind of screw things up for Quiet Riot back in the day, mocking the magazines like Hit Parader. Oh, I can wipe my ass with this and book, and he didn't need Hit Parader magazine type thing, and that's what he did to kind of screwed up his career in Quiet Riot, being cocky and arrogant. And that ain't how you run a band, because without the fans, there is no bands. And without some, media attention, and Hit Parader, man, was a huge, book back in my day, boy, and I had a bunch of them. It's too bad, I lost them on the Jersey Turnpike. And also I, took a lot of posters out. I also lost all them too, but I mean, that was the goal, to get as close as you could to these bands like Ozzy, Quiet Riot, back in them days, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, all the mega stars back in them days, and Motorhead. These magazines had everything, Death Angel, to your Anthrax, to your Metallica, I mean, I do have some of my posters left over. I should do a video on them. I think I found some more that I didn't do, but I have to look up my 80 rock posters of what I did do and get the rest out there, but I took pictures of them. Because, I did get to save them on the Jersey Turnpike. But throughout the years, they got ruined because they were all in a friggin' storage shed. Got wet. Some of them got ripped. The pictures were off and blah, blah, blah. But, all in all, man, I still have a concert shirt that I got a hold of somehow. Original Quiet Riot when they made it big in 83. But, it's sad that what this guy went through. And then his life ends in a tragedy. But I'll tell you, man, when this guy came about, and it was like nothing I've ever seen before. other than Eddie Van Halen. And that's what puts me forth to say, you know, my top 5 guitarists will always be Tony Iommi, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhodes, Zakk Wylde, and of course the late, great, powerful Dimebag Darrell. And, you know, them 5 guitarists to me, you know, besides, whoops, god dang it, I'm going to my plumbing photos. Them 5 guys to me, unlike your Eric Clapton's, I can't even put Jimmy Page in there, but Eric Clapton, Say So, Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, them greats back in the day, and Say So, Jeff Beck, you know, all these heavy guitarists, let alone Humble, no, not Humble Pie. They claim they were more heavier than anybody back in the day. It was shit. What was it? I got it at the tip of my tongue too. I forget. Damn it. I mean, don't get me wrong, like Iron Butterfly or Steppenwolf bringing out these heavy riffs. But all the, or Jimi Hendrix, you know, these guitarists, damn it, I'm going to piss myself off now, remember that band. And I'll tell you something, I'm sorry, but the band I'm thinking of, goddamn, man, sounds a lot like Iron Maiden. And it seemed to me it looked like Iron Maiden done a little copying off of that. And I have to really get back to check that one out. But I'm not saying Iron Maiden stole their music, but the speed of Iron Maiden's music was kind of like the speed of them. And it's like, what the f... But believe me, yeah, they were heavy back in the 70s, man. Or 60s at that, late 60s, early 70s. So it's like, you know, there was some mega, don't get me wrong, guitar riffs that were heavy. Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple, and, you know, it just goes on and on. But to me, the 5 guitarists I just named off were the 5 that, you know, and I've listened to all kinds of music. And I just named off all them other bands that that damn band's at the tip of my tongue. I want to say it, but it ain't coming out. But just to say, so all these guitarists that did leave a mark on people, you know, let alone like Thin Lizzy, you know, Jail, tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak. They're heavy riffs, and, you know, the list goes on of heaviness. Back in the 60s, don't get me wrong. But the way these guys, the 5 guitarists that I put out there, like when Gene Simmons walks into a club and said that he thought he heard 5 guitar players playing and it was Eddie Van Halen. You know, you got these guys out there like these 5 that I named off, just bringing out riff after riff. You know, song after song, lyrics after lyrics, and making it a different tone than anybody from the past, let alone putting it heavy and putting speed to it single-handedly. You know, you got your double guitarists out there like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Slayer, you know, Anthrax, all them double guitarists that need 2. But to have just 1, and the mighty Dimebag Darrell, man, was the last to me that really put that speed and heaviness back into the A game, from where I think the 90s music kind of screwed up music in general. And that's why rock and roll is starting to thin out a little bit from where it's been from the past. You're not got a lot of guys that had the passion like Randy Rhodes and all these other guitarists. They had a passion to play. These days they do it for the money and women. And they even say it, and it's stupid, it's dumb, it's ridiculous. And I hold this guy dearest to heart too, man, because he, man, was just, to me, an eye-opener to say, hey, I want to do something like that. I want to be someone like that. And, make something happen. And make music and stuff. Because I love music. I try and do my stuff on my own. But, yeah, I mean, he always influenced me to stay on top and to do things and keep going with things in life, because one day you will make it. And that's what Randy Rhodes inspired me, that I will make it someday, and I keep doing it to this day. I'm almost there. I got it by the tip of my fingers, but I still got a lot of work to do. Just like with this YouTube, got a lot of work to do. But I'm almost there. It's tip of my teeth. And, but that's what Randy Rhodes has done for me in life, man. And every time I think of him or see him and even listen to him play, man, it just makes me, everybody that has passed makes me tear up, choke up, and wish the day they never frickin' left this earth. But everybody comes here, makes an impact, and if they pass away, hey, what can you do? You know, it's like, but, man, all you can do is keep their legacy going like I'm doing here right now. Don't ever forget this, man. Just like Eddie Van Halen. You know, just like Dimebag, man. We still got 2 guitarists left, and they're still continuing the legacy. And, of course, Zakk Wylde going out there to pay tribute to Dimebag in 2023 of reuniting Pantera. That's a lesson learned that Mr. Robert Plant needs to take in mind. You tribute and honor and worship that person that helped you make that music too. And he's not doing that with John Bonham and his son Jason. No, and this is a perfect example of a rude, ignorant bastard and only thinks of himself, and that's Robert Plant. And you know, the list goes on, man. These are the things you got to think of that pay tribute to people, and this man right here too is one of them, Mr. Randy Rhodes. And there was an interview on here with Eddie Van Halen, and he's talking about, there ain't nothing he's done that I ain't done, and he's learned from me, and you know how Eddie is. But all in all in the day's work, man, they both gave each other, you know, a run for their money. But I'm sure they highly respected each other too, man. And that's just honor of what these men do and did with that damn guitar. It just sucks that they're gone. But all in all, folks, I'm going to see if this place is still in honor of Randy Rhodes. I like to go drive by and pay my respects also, just like I did as the mighty Jim Morrison's house in Florida. But all in all, man, this is it. I recommend to watch this. You're going to get a tear-up adventure in this, and you're going to understand a little bit more of Quiet Riot, which I think didn't have much on the first, 6-7 years of that band, which sucks. So I'm putting it out there. But until that next video, be safe, take care, and always listen to music, folks. Music is life. Whether you experience new or find the old, you got to do it and you got to listen to it. Because it always brings something to the table. And it's always a good influence to keep you above water and thinking correctly, man. Look at this. Boom. $3.99 to go buy an album. Man, when I bought this album, it was like $10, you son of a... But back in 1980, and I took that off. This is what was, showing at the time with Mr. Randy Rhodes. But Ozzy Osbourne back with a vengeance. That wouldn't have been done, folks, if it wasn't for the meeting of him and Randy Rhodes. That's right. But always have music in your life, folks. Any type of whatever you like, man. Just keep it dear. Because if there is good music out there still left, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. Nice story told. And memories. Always the memories. Out.